welcome to Two Sisters Arts Sampler Box for February 2019. This month is a watercolour box, so let's have a look and see what Tanya sent us. So there is some Pearl X from Jacquard Products, which I have not used before. So it's a powder, I think. Yeah, so there's a bit of it's a powder in there. So we'll have a look at that in a minute. There is, let's open this up and have a look. There's a Derwent Inktense pencil. I've got one in fuchsia. So these, I love these. You can draw with them, and then once they're activated with water and all the ink's dissolved, it becomes permanent. So you can then layer on top of it if you need to. Distress Crown. I've got Tim Holtz's Distress Crown for Festive Berries. I've not used these before, but I believe that they, again, you draw with them and then can add water to them and they become water soluble. There's Marabou Aqua Ink Graphics Watercolour Ink. And this one is magenta. I've got a set of these and I quite like those colours. Neo Colours from Carandiat. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. And I've got Lilac. So again, they're a crown that you can draw with, and once water's active, they become water soluble. There's a Micron pen with black ink, which are permanent, so they can have water added to them and then they're all good. And there is a white gold pan of watercolour as well. I've got the little Two Sisters ephemera. I can't speak very well today. There's a paintbrush that you can use. There's an water brush or an aqua brush. So if you fill it up with water, screw it on, and then you've got like a little brush ready to go. So that reservoir there, you just fill that up with water. Take that black thing off, screw that top on, and then you've got your water brush. And it goes the wrong way as well. So when you screw it on, screw it the wrong way. So turn it to counterclockwise and it'll screw on. And that way you don't accidentally unscrew it when it's full of water and things. There's a tag for those that are interested in doing the tag swap. Once you've created something on there, just send it back to Tanya at Two Sisters Art, and we'll send it out to someone else's box, and you'll receive someone else's tag. There's the art sampler box information, so on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and if you subscribe to this, we'll add you to our secret closed group as well for members only, where there's several of us will do videos for you to watch on YouTube. So Wendy Patterson Art, myself, and Louise Turner will also do some as well, and a few other people share some things on there. On the back is all the information about some of the products that you've received, so you can have a little bit more about them and their recommended retail price. And all these are available from Two Sisters Art as well. And then we have some paper. So these are all watercolour paper, different types, so you can have a few goes and see what you like. So there's the Paper House Winslow Aquarelle 200 GSM cold press. So the GSM is how thick the paper is. And cold press is a smoother. Cold press is rougher than your heat press. So think of it as being ironed. Once the paper's been ironed, it's been heated, and therefore it's get the creases out and it's been smoother. Well, that's how I remember it. So there's two of those. There's Strathmore Artist Paper 300 GSM cold press. So that's a bit thicker than that one, but they're the same. Like the cold press is the same, so there's a little bit rougher and there'll be a few divots. And have a look at both sides. Usually one side is smoother than the other side. So this one's a bit rougher. Is that the same? And there's a Strathmore Vision Artist paper, 300 GSM cold press, and that's the same one again. So there's a couple of different brands there, so you can see which you like. So I thought, because we've got a few different products, I might just have it quickly show you the what they look like. So let's get rid of all my rubbish. So I'll fill up this water brush. So I've taken that little black thing off, and remember it screws the wrong way. And then just because I've got a spray bottle here, I'll just stick that on the nozzle and hope for the best, because my water's outside. So I'm just filling that up. And these are great when you're travelling around, because you've got your water there already. So screw it back on the wrong way, and it's ready to go. Okay. So start with a micron pen. The way I always check my pens to see if they are permanent is just basically you just want to draw something. So we can just write, micron. What is it? 0.45 mil is how big the nib is. And it's an archival ink, which means that it should be pretty good to last, like it doesn't fade too quickly. So with our new water brush, so if you just squeeze it, and you might be able to see that the drops of water that come out. So squeeze a little bit just to get it a bit wet, and if it's not running fast enough, you can do that. So, and then I'll just move it a little bit. So it moves a little bit just after I've written, but I'll give it a few more minutes and we'll try it again and see if you leave it for a little bit to dry, it might be a bit better. So with the watercolour in a pan, you're better off just wetting it a little bit. So I just squeeze a few drops on there, move it around just to get it wet, and then paint it on like that. And it's got a fair bit of shimmer in it. They're quite a nice product, these ones. Remember that you may not get the same colours as what I have. You just get what you get. But it's all the same product, they're just different colours. So that was that one. And to clean that off, I just wipe it off there, or you wipe on your hand, it's a non-toxic. So your distress crown. So we can just scribble that on. And adding that wet brush onto it, it'll just move around like that. So depending on how hard and how much water and how much you scrub, depends on how much you get to move it. I mean, you don't have to add water if you don't want. If you just want the crown effect, of course you can just do that. Alright, so just clean that off a bit. I'm just keeping these in order so I can write next to them what they are. Keep going with the crowns. So this is Neocolors, and again I love these, and so they're very similar to the Distress Crowns, just different brands. So that was, the Distress Crown was Festive Berries, which they've got all the ink ranges in the same colours, and this one was called Lilac. And then we've got our Inktense pencil in Fuchsia. So you can just put it on and then same again, just colour it up. The other thing I like to do with these Inktense pencils is with some water, just dip the pencil in the water and then you can write with it from there, and it just goes a little bit different, but the water runs out pretty quick, so you just got to keep adding it. It just sort of moves around and goes a bit darker and stuff. So that's something else you can do with it. So it's just mucking around and playing with them a bit. So the graphic inks, the aqua ink. So just because I've already got it dirty, I'll just dip that in. So once these are dry, once the water's added, they'll probably move again. We'll try it once they're dry, but you just got to muck around with them a bit and play with them and see what they do. So that was in magenta as well. Just clean that off a bit. And then this one, the Pearlers, I've not used these ones. I don't know where I got that from. Oh, that must be the lid to my pen, my paintbrush. So the Pearl X, it's non-toxic. Just seeing if I can find some information out of it. It's all in languages that I can't read. So I would imagine that we put a little bit on. I'll take that off. It's a nice bright colour. I'll just grab a paddle pop and I'll just take a little bit out. I don't know how much you need, so we'll just do a little bit. And then if I add a drop of water to that and make it into like a little paint palette, mix it all up. Oh, it's very shimmery. And obviously the more water you add to these products, the lighter they will be and more translucent. Whereas if you want them a bit more opaque, a bit more brighter, just add less water to them. Alright, so that works pretty well. So I mean, you don't have to put this straight on the paper, it's just that I don't have anything else set up at the moment. But you could tip a little bit of that powder onto a palette and then add some water from there. You might even be able to leave it then once it's dried, once it's all mixed up and dried, and keep it as like little watercolour palettes. So I'll just clean that up again. So I'm just waiting for those to dry so I can go over them again with some water and see what happens from there. So while I'm waiting for that, I'll just write down what they were. So that was, I haven't got the brand name, it's probably on the information sheet. What these are. So these are from Ganzal Tambi Starry Colours. So there's a palette of 6 colours of watercolours and different types of gold. And I must admit, I do have this other set of them and I love them. But I've got this one's white gold. So white gold. And I'm just writing down so I know what they are in case anyone has a look or asks me about them. I can show them what I have done. Tambi Starry Colours. And then the next one was the Distress Crown. Festive Berries. And that's a Intense. No, that wasn't Intense, this was Intense here. Fuchsia, and so is that one, and this one is the Neo Colour. Oh, and there's Neo Colour 2s and there's Neo Colour 1s. There's a big difference in them as well, so if you do go to get more, don't get confused. So Neo Colour 2, which is what we've got here, are water soluble. So if you add water to them, you can move them around like we've just done here. The Neo Colour 1s are more waxy, and once they're down, you can't move them again. So make sure if you are going to purchase some more that you get the ones that you're after, because they don't do the same things at all. But I love these Neo Colour 2s. And what do I use there? Oh, this one, the Graphics ink. And magenta and some Pearl X, and it is called magenta as well. So I don't know what other colours you are getting. I haven't seen what else Tanya's packed up for everybody, so I don't know if you're all getting reds or greens or blues, so that'll all be interesting to see that. Now I'll just do a different paintbrush just because then I'll end up getting the colour from that one. So I won't put it in front of you because you don't want to watch me do that. So we use our other nice new paintbrush. So they usually come a bit hard when you cut, but that wears off once you start using it. I assume it's something that they make so the tip stays nice. So I've just wet that again, and now over this pen. So once it's dried, that's not moving at all. So it's staying where it was. You probably can't see it too easily, but that's got a bit of a grey area to it where we did it before it dried properly, and now this is just water. This one will probably move Yeah, once I do that, I can get rid of that edge a little bit and move that because it is a watercolour. So adding water to it, once it's dry, it'll still move again. The distress crayons, I imagine, will move again. Yeah, once you add water to them and they've dried, they'll move again because they're water soluble. And imagine they'll all do that. So that we'll just check. And this is how you work out what products you've got and what they do. So the near colours, so that'll move as well. It's not moving as easily as it did before, but it still is once you're reacting to that water. The ink if you've blended all that Inktense pencil in to water, it shouldn't move because it's meant to be permanent. Yeah, so that's not moving at all. But if you've done like there, I may not have got it all. And there it's going, I can move that a bit. So I haven't dissolved all that pencil there. There's still a little bit caught up, so it's going pink a little bit on me there. The graphics ink with water, so I can move that again a little bit. Not as much as I obviously could while it was wet, but enough that if you don't want it to move, it's going to be annoying. And the Pearl X, yeah, so that reacts as well once that water's added to that dry. Oh, that's all right. And once you know what your products do, you can then, you're not going to be in for a surprise when they do something that you're not planning on because you know them and you understand how they work. So I've hoped you've enjoyed this and are enjoying the boxes. So don't forget about your papers that you've got as well that you can muck around with and see what you like. So there's a couple of different thicknesses there and a couple of different brands. And can't wait to see what everybody does. So I will talk to you next time.